This might look like a typical podcast setup. We also have the coffee. So this is the battle of the two titans. One, the iPhone 16 Pro Max,
And the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra.
we have been living with these phones for a week now, and we are going to decide which one is the ultimate titan. They both are respective kings in their own ecosystem. But let's start from where it needs to be started. Design.
I want to speak about the Galaxy S25 Ultra's changed footprint. They are rounded this time, but still they're not as rounded as the iPhone. Yeah.
This is more easy to hold. It doesn't have sharp edges. It's more comfortable. This also looks very neat because it looks very distinct from this earlier.
And it is a bit heavy for my taste, but when you're choosing an Ultra phone or a Max phone, you have to expect
This is lighter than the iPhone.
Yeah.
15 grams lighter. So that way it's good. But what they have done very good is that they have given us more screen space, but lesser bezel than the S24. So overall the length has reduced, but you get more screen space.
And that is something that happened with the iPhone 16 as well. I want to ask you about the camera button because I was hoping that Samsung would also switch to a camera button this time.
Maybe they wanted to, but this would look like a copy, so perhaps they stepped back.
Maybe
But they have the same camera now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something good.
What was it like using the camera button?
Now what happens is that it takes some time to get used to it, and it's very intuitive. It's not a deal breaker, like you can actually use the camera button from the screen like your normal iPhones. But the more you use it, for example, when you're doing a long video, then to zoom in, zoom out is very seamless. It's not a jerk reaction. That's something very cool. And also when you don't want to go inside and you have one more button to operate from. That's a change, but not something which is very, very useful. But it's always good to have. It's like that.
One thing that is new on the Galaxy S25 Ultra is that the power button gives you access to Google's Gemini. And it's not just normal Gemini, it is agentic in such a way that it can perform secondary actions.
So it doesn't have the inbuilt Gemini, but the power button gives you access to Siri, which actually has a backend ChatGPT. It's not as advanced perhaps as this. The Apple Intelligence still has to come in India, and when that comes it will be exact test, but so far it has not yet come. Like for example, when you press the power button, this is the Apple Intelligence, but you have to do a setting change. You have to cheat it to make it feel that you're from US. So you have to go in the settings and make it a US enabled, then this works. It is giving you good answers, but not as advanced as the Samsung. What about the display?
The display, I think Samsung is known for their displays to be top notch, and this one is one of the best displays I've ever seen, perhaps the best. It's got great contrast levels, it's got vivid visuals, great dynamic range. So yeah, I've been a fan of this display.
Yeah, so Apple keeps the colors more natural, and that I've also noticed even when I was using this S25, but both have IP68 rating, both are stunning displays, but somehow I felt that on the sunlight, the iPhone does a better job.
It does?
What do you feel?
I found the sunlight visibility of this phone to be great. I was wearing sunglasses. The brightness was adaptive, so I can't judge that. But I was wearing sunglasses and I was under harsh sunlight and I could clearly see everything on
But
this.
you try this with iPhone?
I haven't yet.
So let's come through and drop in the text.
Sure.
Sunlight test was good. Both were very visible. You tried?
I tried it in both sunlight, and the difference that we'd like to point out to the audiences is that the display on the S25 Ultra is much more vivid, while this
color is
feels
true to
life. Yeah.
That has been always the Apple. And the speakers, I think the speaker wise, iPhone has an edge over the Samsung because the sound quality is more clear and more louder. Somewhere speakers of the Samsung is also good, but the iPhone has that slight nudge. Both of them are very premium, so there's only going to be a marginal difference in any case. So
these are good speakers, they're not bad at all, but once you switch to full volume, sure.
Now let's talk about the camera.
I found that the camera of the S25 Ultra Doesn't bring any notable differences except for the fact that the ultra wide camera has been updated from a 12 megapixel to a 50 megapixel.
And iPhone has 48.
Yeah, and the 50 megapixel camera also has OIS, so that's something that we're going to test in this segment as well.
And you can see the sample. We have done the ultra wide 0.5. Samsung says 0.6, but we found that they both give the same field of view 120 degrees. There's no difference. Even on 1x, the stability is for you to see. It's very difficult to pick. Both of them give you stability control somewhere. On iPhone, you have something called action mode. When you pick that, and when you are shooting yourself in a moving car, which we often do, then they both give you almost the same result. So in camera department, which is a very, very important department, they both are doing a great job. So there's nothing much.
Alright, now the action mode on the iPhone and the super steady mode on the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra are both on. And we are on a particularly bumpy road in Mumbai. So here's how the stabilization works.
In terms of photography, these are the highest end phones, so you can expect top notch photo quality from both of them. But to get into the nitty-gritties, I found that the S25 Ultra slightly falters when we are zoomed in during the night.
Okay.
The main camera is good, but there is a lot of noise when we switch.
And what about the 100x zoom?
The 100x zoom is, what it was last year. It doesn't
It
bring
shows the mood,
anything
right?
new to the table. Yeah.
Now, when you zoom in, I think the Samsung also gives you some, in the day, Samsung pictures come out more clearer when you actually go very.
The thing is, these look more vivid, these look more true to life and towards the warmer side. So it is a question of
What
who
you
likes
like.
what. Yeah.
True that. Now, when it comes to camera, there are a few things. For example, the Samsung has the 8K 30 FPS. In real life, so nobody uses 8K because if you have to actually use this Samsung phone for shooting 8K, then you don't need 1 TB, you need 5 TB of storage because it takes so much of space. The phone will heat up. The phone doesn't heat up right now, but we've done some testing on 8K 30 FPS and 4K 30 FPS iPhone. Those Google Drive links are in the description. You can take a look. But in real life, as of today and for the next 2 years, I don't think it's going to be of too much use. As I said, if you're shooting in 8K, it is going to throw up larger files. That means it's going to eat up a lot of the storage.
Well,
And
maybe
then
videographers.
Maybe videographers can use
Want
it.
to crop later.
Crop later, yeah. So that's an edge of Samsung over the iPhone. Now let's move on to the performance.
So talking about performance, these are both the highest end phones. So I don't think everyday performance is going to be comparable because
Correct.
both of them are going to give you top-notch performance. So we decided to run synthetic benchmarks, and as expected, the iPhone is way ahead in terms of single core performance on Geekbench.
But in the multi-core, Samsung beats iPhone fair and square.
Yes, it does. And in GPU benchmarks as well.
When we are playing gaming, when we are doing multitasking, it does not make any difference. 4K viewing editing, you really can't make a difference. But for the nerdy, for that guy in you who's a geek, who wants to know what is the what, dive deep. For them, Samsung comes with more 8-core power processing. iPhone comes with more single-core power processing for that single task that you're doing. Whether it's taking a picture or something, iPhone will do a better job. But if you're doing multitudes of things, then the Samsung will do a better job in slightly, even with gaming. But when I say all this, again, to the naked eyes, we can't make a difference. For you, that's your call. So in performance, both of them actually have given us quite a satisfactory to live with. You can actually pick any one and go about your business every day. There's such great flagships, so it really doesn't make a difference.
It doesn't make a difference.
You can do anything and everything with that finesse and flawlessness as you'd expect.
Yeah, no frame rate drops, no hiccups, no lags in switching between apps, nothing. I felt nothing.
Now let's talk about the battery, which is another very, very important feature. With iPhone, you can go about your day very, very comfortably. iPhone optimizes your apps and your tasks in a way which can give you a full day usage without any problem. You go to bed, plug that in, get up in the morning, it's juiced over here.
And with heavy usage, this guy gave me more than a day. But that's only because it has a slightly bigger battery life than the iPhone.
Yeah, that's 400 mAh battery, so it will give you 2-3 hours more.
It all depends on optimization at the end of the day.
Samsung, where you have to give the devil-raised viewers, it has a bigger battery.
The Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra has 45 watt charging, whereas the iPhone tops out at 33 watts.
Reverse wireless charging, what I like about the Samsung, a lot of Samsung phones have this feature. It can actually be used as a power bank. I can use my iPhone to be charged from the Samsung. You will just activate one button of power sharing. Apple doesn't allow that. That's something which I don't like, because when you have these other gadgets,
It would have been great to use it with the Apple.
like my Apple iWatch, if I'm to charge it, I can't do that on the device. So all that thing sometimes become very useful, because when you're traveling and you don't have anything, you can just use this phone as a power bank to get about your business. It's also a flaunt factor for you to tell people, okay, let me charge your phone.
Yeah. And 4K viewing test?
Yeah, that's where again Samsung wins, because in our 0 to 30 minutes 4K viewing test, where we actually put the screen on top quality and both the devices, Samsung lost only 5 minutes.
Only 5%.
5%, sorry. Yeah. And the iPhone lost 7%.
7%.
So battery department, Samsung wins half all the way. If you're looking for battery and you don't want the Apple ecosystem, this is the guy to go for. But apart from that, but then when I say this, I also say this, these are the quirks which you'll need once in a while. The reverse wireless charging, that extra 2 hours, because day-to-day life, you will go about your business with the iPhone 16 Pro Max very, very easily. But if you want that extra factor, then you have the S25 has an edge. It's time for a verdict then.
Yeah, sure.
If you are tied up with the Apple ecosystem, then there is no way you are switching over to the Android ecosystem, no matter how good the phone it is.
But Samsung too has its own ecosystem now, which is very populated, very spread out. So if you want to get into that ecosystem, you can do that without worrying about finding secondary gadgets to suit your style, because there are the Galaxy Buds, you've got
the
which are good
MacBook,
quality,
Galaxy 360,
the
you have
Samsung
a Ultra Tab, you have the Samsung Watch Ultra that you're wearing.
Yeah.
So all of this, really, they both have developed an ecosystem. Actually, if they both get married or collaborate in some way, I would like to use the Samsung Watch Ultra with my iPhone, which I can't. So all these things are trickle down, but the best combination is to use both the phones, I guess. And I've been using that. You can actually use the Samsung, but you need to have one ecosystem which is prevalent, whether it's Apple, whether it's Android. If you're someone who's trying to get into something new, then Android, Samsung will also look very good. It's also a flagship smartphone, expensive, everything is top notch. And if you still want to stick with Apple, then you're in good hands, right?
Yeah, sure.
So if you like this video, tell us how you like it. We are going to come up next with the S25 and the iPhone 16 comparison. That video is coming soon. Stay tuned. See you in the next one.
See you.